Christine McVie was the quiet force behind Fleetwood Mac, the voice that soothed the storms, the soul that gave the chaos harmony. While the band's history was filled with scandal, heartbreak, and drama, Christine was always the steady light, calm, graceful, and kind. But what fans didn't see was how much pain she carried behind that soft smile. She was the one who held everyone else together, yet her own heart was breaking in silence. Her story isn't just one of fame and fortune. It's one of love lost, deep loneliness, and a hidden struggle that grew heavier with time. Now, new details about her final days have surfaced, and they make her already heartbreaking story even sadder. Behind the hit songs and sold-out tours was a woman quietly fading away, still writing, still dreaming, but fighting a battle she never spoke about. This is the Untold story of Christine McVie, the beloved songbird of Fleetwood Mac, whose beautiful voice will forever echo through the heartbreak she left behind. Long before the drama and fame, Christine Perfect, later Christine McVie, was a small-town girl with a big love for music. Born in Lancashire, England, she grew up surrounded by melodies and the warmth of family life. Her father was a music teacher, and by age 4, Christine was already playing piano by ear. She joined Fleetwood Mac in the early 1970s, long before they became rock legends. What she brought wasn't just talent, it was stability. While the band's members often clashed, Christine was their anchor. Her voice was soft yet powerful, her songwriting gentle but timeless. Songs like Over My Head, You Make Loving Fun, and Songbird gave the band its soul. But behind her calm presence was a woman living through heartbreak. Her marriage to bassist John McVie began as a storybook romance. Two artists in love, creating magic together on stage and in the studio. But when fame arrived, so did the cracks. Endless touring, pressure, and temptation slowly tore them apart. When their marriage ended, Christine didn't walk away from the band. Instead, she faced her ex-husband on stage night after night, singing songs that told their story. Her pain became art, and the world sang along without ever realizing how real those lyrics were. Through it all, Christine never complained. She laughed, she wrote, and she loved her fans. But the heartbreak never truly left her. It only sank deeper into her music. After years of touring, broken relationships, and endless pressure, Christine McVie had reached her limit. By the late 1990s, she was exhausted, not just physically but emotionally. The bright lights, the fame, the noise, it all began to feel hollow. Behind the applause, she longed for peace, something simple and quiet. In 1998, after decades with Fleetwood Mac, Christine made a shocking decision. She quit. No farewell tour, no long speeches. She simply walked away. For many, it was unthinkable. She was one of the band's defining voices, the heart that balanced all the chaos between Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, and the McVies. But Christine had seen too much pain behind the glamour. She wanted freedom, not from the music, but from the pressure to always be someone else. She sold her homes in Los Angeles and moved back to the English countryside, settling into an old stone house in Kent. There, she retreated from the world. For nearly 15 years, Christine McVie, one of rock's most beloved songwriters, lived in near-total isolation. She rarely gave interviews, rarely wrote songs, and avoided the spotlight completely. In later years, she would confess that her withdrawal wasn't just a personal choice. It was rooted in fear. I developed a terrible case of agoraphobia, she said. I couldn't travel, couldn't perform. I didn't even want to leave my house. The woman who had once sung, "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow," now struggled to face her own tomorrows. She filled her days with simple routines, gardening, painting, cooking, anything that reminded her of normal life. But even in the quiet countryside, Christine couldn't escape the ghosts of her past. She had lost herself in the fame that once defined her. She missed her bandmates, even the drama, the laughter, the long nights in the studio. But she felt too fragile to return. "It's strange," she once said, "to have the world love your songs, but not know the person behind them." Her solitude also carried a deep sadness. Christine had loved deeply but struggled to find lasting companionship. Her relationships often crumbled under the weight of fame and distance. She once described herself as a romantic who always fell for the wrong men. Each heartbreak left another scar, and slowly, she built walls around her heart, and yet, music never truly left her. Even in isolation, she would sit at her piano for hours, playing softly, melodies that no one else would ever hear. "Music is my safe place," she said. "Even when I stop performing, I never stop playing." Her bandmates, Stevie Nicks, Mick Fleetwood, and John McVie, all reached out to her over the years, begging her to return. Stevie missed her the most. "It was never the same without Christine," Stevie once admitted. "She was our grounding force, the one who kept us from falling apart." But Christine remained hesitant. Fear held her back. For over a decade, the world's songbird had gone silent, and few believed she would ever sing again. What fans didn't know was that during those quiet years, Christine was also battling hidden health issues. She had developed chronic back problems that made touring painful, and her once boundless energy had faded. Combined with her isolation and fear of flying, returning to the stage seemed impossible. But deep down, she still carried that quiet strength that defined her life. And one day, against all odds, she found the courage to step back into the light. The comeback of Christine McVie would become one of the most emotional moments in Fleetwood Mac's history and the beginning of her bittersweet final chapter. In 2014, something extraordinary happened. After more than 15 years away from the spotlight, Christine McVie returned to Fleetwood Mac. It started quietly. A simple phone call to Mick Fleetwood led to a visit, and that visit turned into an invitation. Before long, the woman who once swore she'd never tour again found herself back at the piano, rehearsing "Don't Stop" with her old bandmates. Her return was emotional beyond words. Fans wept when they saw her step onto the stage once more, smiling shyly as the crowd roared. The moment felt like magic. The songbird was home again. But behind that smile was a woman who had fought her way through darkness to stand there. "It took a lot of courage," Mick Fleetwood later said. Christine had been through so much, physically, emotionally, mentally. But when she played that first chord, it was like she'd never left. Fleetwood Mac's On With the Show tour became a celebration of reunion and healing. Christine's voice, still warm, still hauntingly pure, filled arenas around the world. Each night as she sang Songbird, fans could feel her gratitude. It wasn't just a performance. It was a thank you, a love letter to the people who had never stopped believing in her. Yet, those close to her noticed that Christine moved a little slower, spoke a little softer. She was joyful but tired. Years of isolation and health struggles had left their mark. Traveling from city to city was draining, but she refused to let the exhaustion show. She was so happy to be back, Stevie Nicks recalled. She'd sit at the piano and say, "I've missed this so much." For a while, it seemed like Christine had found her peace again. She recorded new music with Lindsey Buckingham in 2017, creating Lindsey Buckingham Christine McVie, an album filled with optimism and bittersweet nostalgia. It was a project that showed her creative fire still burned bright, even as time slowly dimmed her energy. But as the years passed, the signs of decline became harder to ignore. Christine's back pain worsened, and she began canceling public appearances. Still, she kept a brave face, insisting she was just taking time to rest. Fans didn't realize that her health was quietly deteriorating. Behind the scenes, she had been diagnosed with a form of cancer that doctors struggled to treat. Through it all, Christine stayed true to her nature, private, humble, and deeply kind. She never wanted sympathy. "I've had a wonderful life," she said in one of her final interviews. "I've been so lucky. I don't want people to feel sorry for me." When news broke on November 30th, 2022, that Christine McVie had passed away at the age of 79, the world of music fell silent. Her family's statement described her death as peaceful, but for her fans it felt like the end of an era. Stevie Nicks, her closest friend and sister in song, was devastated. She posted a handwritten note that broke hearts around the world. "A few hours ago, I was told that my best friend in the whole world had passed away. I didn't even know she was sick until a few days ago. Stevie said she wanted to sing Hallelujah to her one last time, but never got the chance. For days after her passing, tributes poured in. Mick Fleetwood called her the glue that held us together. Lindsey Buckingham wrote that she was a soulmate, a musical comrade and a best friend. Even younger artists like Harry Styles and Taylor Swift spoke of her as an inspiration, a songwriter, whose honesty and warmth transcended generations. Christine McVie's death was a loss that went beyond the band. It was a farewell to an era of music built on truth, vulnerability, and beauty. She was never the loudest member of Fleetwood Mac, but she was always its heart. And when that heart stopped beating, something in the music world went quiet too. When Christine McVie passed away, it wasn't just the end of a life, it was the fading of a voice that had defined decades of emotion. But even in death, her spirit continues to soar through the music she left behind. Every note of Songbird, every tender lyric of Everywhere, and You Make Loving Fun reminds the world of a woman who lived with quiet grace and eternal warmth. Christine never sought the spotlight. While others in Fleetwood Mac often captured headlines with chaos, love affairs, and conflict, Christine stayed in the background, the calm at the center of the storm. Her music didn't scream for attention. It whispered to the soul. That was her magic. She once said, "I just wanted to write songs that made people feel good." Yet, those songs ended up defining one of the greatest bands in history. Her legacy isn't just in the records sold or awards won, it's in the way she made people feel. Generations of fans found comfort in her words. When love was lost, Christine gave them Say You Love Me. When hope felt gone, she offered Don't Stop. And when hearts were breaking, she sang Songbird, a lullaby for the wounded spirit. After her death, countless artists across the world paid tribute. At Fleetwood Mac's tribute concert, Stevie Nicks and Mick Fleetwood stood on stage, tears streaming as they performed Songbird. It was as if Christine's presence filled the room once again, gentle, peaceful, and radiant. Stevie's voice cracked as she whispered, "Fly away, Songbird." Christine's passing also reminded the world of something profound, that behind the glitter of fame are human stories, fragile, fleeting, and deeply real. She wasn't just a rock icon. She was a woman who loved deeply, hurt quietly, and carried her pain with dignity. Her friends said she never complained, even when her body weakened. "She faced everything with such grace," Mick Fleetwood said. "She was the kindest soul I've ever known." In her later interviews, Christine seemed at peace. She often reflected on her journey with humility and gratitude. "I've had a wonderful life," she said softly. "Music gave me everything I could ever want. And I'm proud of what we created. Proud of the love we shared through it." Those words, now echoing after her death, feel like her final message to the world. Today, when fans listen to her voice, it feels timeless, as if she's still there, sitting at her piano under soft stage lights, smiling that shy, knowing smile. Her music continues to comfort those who grieve, inspire those who dream, and remind us all that beauty can rise from pain. Christine McVie's story is one of quiet strength, a woman who endured heartbreak, isolation, and illness, yet never lost her tenderness. She turned her struggles into melodies that will live forever. Fleetwood Mac will never be the same without her. But maybe that's the point. She was never meant to fade quietly. Her legacy is written in every heart she's touched, in every voice that sings along to her songs, and in every tear that falls when Songbird plays one more time. Because Christine McVie wasn't just part of the music, she was the music. And though her body may be gone, her voice will forever soar, a songbird that will never truly stop singing.